Shalom. First and foremost, we're going to start off by giving all praises and glory to
Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai.
Double honors to the apostles and elders of Yasharallah. They rule well, and salutations to you Akim that are out there pushing out this word in truth and sincerity. And we're just going to do a little quick lesson, basically explaining Acts 26. Go ahead, read it.
Okay. This is the book of Acts, chapter 26, verse 26. For the king knoweth of these things, before whom also I speak freely. For I am persuaded that none of these things are hidden from him. For this thing was not done in a corner. Verse 27. King Agrippa, believest thou the prophet? I know that thou believest. Verse 28. Then Agrippa said unto Paul, almost thou persuadest me to be a Christian. Verse 29. And Paul said, I would to the Most High that not only thou, but also that hear me this day, were both almost and altogether such as I am, except these bonds.
Right. So a lot of people read that scripture and they will think that he was basically saying that King Agrippa had a chance to the covenant, had a chance at salvation, but that's not the case, and we're gonna explain why Paul said it to Agrippa, because Agrippa was if you know your history, Agrippa was a so-called white man. He was an Edomite, he was a tear, so scriptures say Esau found no place of repentance, though he started out with tears, so that's not talking about all that. Get Matthew 10 and 16.
Matthew chapter 10 verse 16. Behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be ye therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves.
Right, and that's what Paul was doing. He was being wise as a serpent, and harmless as a dove. Why? Because he was King Agrippa. He had power to send him to prison, kill him, do whatever he wanted. If Paul did something, that didn't please King Agrippa. So what did Paul do? He made sure he made everything to the pleasing of King Agrippa. Make sure he chose what words and what to say, so that King Agrippa may have favor upon him. Get that Luke.
Okay. This is Luke 12 and 58. It says, when thou goest with thine adversary to the magistrate, as thou art in the way, give diligence that thou mayest be delivered from him, lest he hale thee to the judge, and the judge deliver thee to the officer, and the officer cast thee into prison.
Give diligence. So basically, be careful. Be wise in how you deal with them. Read it again, Bob.
Okay. This is Luke 12 and 58. It says, when thou goest with thine adversary to the magistrate, as thou art in the way, give diligence that thou mayest be delivered from him, lest he hale thee to the judge, and the judge deliver thee to the officer, and the officer cast thee into prison.
Right. So he has the power to do that. So anything wrong that you do, he could throw you in jail for it. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna act wisely. You're gonna in a way kiss ass. Exactly what Paul was doing. He was bigging him up. He was bigging up King Agrippa. So King Agrippa, may show him favor. He was using wisdom. It wasn't because King Agrippa actually had a chance at the covenant and a chance of salvation. No, it was because Paul knew that King Agrippa had the power to kill him and keep him alive, so he was dealing with him wisely, so he get out of the situation alive.
Okay.
Get that Matthew 5:25.
Matthew. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 25. It says, "Agree with thine adversary quickly, whilst thou art in the way with him."
Right, and that's what Paul was doing. You know, he was saying anything just so he could get out that situation. You know? Go ahead.
"Lest at any time the adversary deliver thee to the judge, and the judge deliver thee to the officer, and thou be cast into prison."
Right, because if he wouldn't have used wisdom, he would have just acted out. You know, King Agrippa would have sent him to prison, or possibly, you know, behead him, or you know, whatever he wanted to. You know, so he was agreeing with his adversary quickly. You know,
I got Sirach. Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Sirach chapter 9 verse 13. Keep thee far from the man that hath power to kill. So shalt thou not doubt the fear of death. And if thou come unto him, make no fault.
Right, if thou come up to him, make no fault. You know, King Agrippa had the power to kill. You know, and Paul knew that. So Paul, what? He made no fault. He did everything so he could not offend. But
Lest he take away thy life presently. Remember that thou goest in the midst of snares, and that thou walkest upon the battlements of the city.
right, which goes back to that Matthew 10:16. We're sheep.
I got that right here.
wolves.
You want me to read that?
You already got it. Yeah, here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you can get it again. Go ahead.
Because I just wanted to reiterate it again, you know, like the scripture said to do, you know. This is Matthew 10 and 20. This is Matthew 10 and 16. "Behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be ye therefore wise as serpent and harmless as doves." You know? So like the brother been saying, man, that's that when we come into situations like that, that's how we have to deal with it. You know? We can't be rash with our anger or wrath or anything like that. We have to come into it and show diligence, so we're not cast into any kind of prison or death, or you know, things like that. Using wisdom is what we're supposed to be doing as spiritual men.
And it's fucking fire.
Let's continue.
Same, man.
God. Go
Can I
ahead.
give you
Get
an
that.
account?
Get that. Yeah, go ahead.
This is 1 Samuel chapter 21 verse 10.
Right.
And
This is another example of how another great man, you know, one of our forefathers, using wisdom at what you call it, a dire situation.
Yeah.
You know, a life-threatening situation. You know, go ahead.
1 Samuel 21 verse 10. And David arose and fled that day for the fear of Saul, and went to Achish the king of Gath. Verse 11. And the servants of Achish said unto him, Is not this David the king of the land? Did they not sing one to another hymn and dances, saying, Saul has slain his thousands, and David his 10,000s? Verse 12. And David laid up these words in his heart, and was sore afraid of Achish the king of Gath. Verse 13. And he changed his behavior before them, and feigned himself mad in their hands, and scrabbled on the doors of the gate, and let his spittle fall down upon his beard. Then said Achish unto his servants, Lo, you see the man is mad? Wherefore then have ye brought him to me?
Right. Hey, so David, you know, he knew he was fucked. So he was like, damn, you know what? He used wisdom, and he knew that if he would have acted like a madman, like he did, that King what, Achish?
Achish, yeah.
Yeah, King Achish wouldn't want him, you know. And that's exactly what happened. Go ahead.
Verse 15. Have I need of madmen that ye have brought this fellow to play the madman in my presence? Shall this fellow come into my house?
You know, and he got out that jail. You know.
Yeah, because if you go into the next chapter, verse 27, at the top, it says, David therefore departed thence and escaped to the cave Adullam. So, being wise, you know, that's your way out, you know, through wisdom, which the Most High is teaching us through His Word.
Right. And that's exactly what Paul was doing with King Agrippa. You know, he was bigging him up. You know, it wasn't because he actually has a chance. No, that wasn't the case. It was because, you know, he knew that if he would say smooth things to King Agrippa will let him go. You know. And that's it. Mm-hmm. You know, and with that, you know, I hope you, Akim, were edified through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. You know, we're going to end it by giving out praises and glory to Yahweh,
Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai.
Double honors to the apostles and elders of Yasharallah that rule well. And salutations to you, Akim, that are out there pushing out this word in truth and in sincerity.
Shalom.
Shalom.